Okay, so today I give you guys my Grey's Anatomy tier list. This is something extra that I thought would be fun to do. I thought would be fun to do. And so I did this already, but I'm going to do it different and I'm going to do it from the bottom to the top. So I feel like they have ruined Teddy's character. I really do. If this was, her first run on the show, through season 9, then she would have been B tier probably. But the way they ruined her character, it's one for the books. It is one for the books. You had that whole storyline with her getting back with Owen. You had that random storyline they threw in where she was with this woman who died in 9/11, and then she named her child after her, and then Owen found out that they were together, and then he was mad at that, but then I think he accepted that. What storyline did they just have a few episodes ago where she was out with some woman and the woman thought she liked her, so then she kissed her, and then it got awkward and everything with Owen. Yeah, I don't know, they're just doing anything. Her cheating on Karasik with Owen, or Owen with Karasik, whatever the fuck. There was that whole storyline. It's just they're trying to ruin Teddy, and she just has moments where she's unlikable. So yeah, it's D tier for me. I don't care for Teddy anymore. Teddy and Owen together, it's my 9/11, no shade. Next up we have Izzy. Fuck Izzy. Izzy is one of the worst characters of the show all time. A bottom 5 character. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know what people like Izzy. She's so fucking annoying. You watch her show, she's always whining and complaining about something. They gave her no good storylines. The whole storyline with Denny, probably my least favorite of all time, and Denny's right here too, but yeah, that ties back in. I hated that storyline, cutting the elevator wire. That was so selfish. I hated that. The George affair storyline was awful. You want to be mad everybody hates you because you knew what you weren't supposed to be doing. And then the storyline where she got cancer, who gives a fuck? I hated Izzy. So fucking annoying. Never had any good storylines. Never contributed in a way that I really gave a fuck about. It just felt like a sham to me. It felt like a sham to me. And I was so happy when they wrote her off the show. And she said she wanted to come back, but when you don't come to finish the original storyline, that's what you get. So thank God. Boki is not really a character in the show, so it doesn't count, so that's why I said D tier. She doesn't have any lines, that's what I mean. Next up, Jackson is just so selfish. He's so selfish. It's always about me and what I want, and it's giving that in real life too from what I've read and everything, so he going to hell. But yeah, just so many situations. The whole Maggie situation, which they should have never even been together in the first place. I already had an issue with that, and then he went off to the woods or whatever the fuck, and then him and April, just so many selfish moments with April as well, I felt, and just the job opportunities. I don't know, he just got on my nerves. And yeah, he's made appearances back on the show, but just be off. Next up is George. George is a perfect example of toxic masculinity, but in a different way. All these so-called nice guys and everything like that, the way that he took advantage of Meredith has to be one for the books, okay? And people don't talk about it enough, and they blame it on her. But he knew that she was vulnerable, and he took advantage of that. You knew that she didn't like you, and somehow it's Meredith's fault, okay? And Alex clocked him on that. He said a real man would get over it and move on, and not be whining like a little bitch, okay? 8. And so yeah, because of that, I just didn't really care for George. I didn't care for his energy and storylines. It's always pity this, and I didn't like that. So when they finally killed him off and all that, yeah. And when people try to talk about he's one of their favorite characters in Grey's Anatomy, okay, yeah, he had a few decent storylines. Yes, I raised you dad, but let's be fucking for real. He's one of the worst characters. I don't care what anybody says. Next up, I believe this is Han. Han had that storyline with Callie. When did Callie come on? Maybe season 3? I don't know. It was the beginning. I think it was season 5 or 6. That was that, and then Han was gone. Han, it didn't really give no shade, and I feel there was some moments with Han I didn't like. So yeah, the shift is so. Next up, I believe this is Finn. So this was early, I think this was seasons 2 or 3, when Meredith and Derek were kind of going at it. Are we going to be together or not together? So it was a small storyline. It was good for what it was, but it was 3 or 4 episodes. Let's be for real. Excuse me. Then next up we had Jo. Jo is another character who annoys me. Now that I think about it, she's actually the modern day version of Izzy. Why did I just now put that together? No, because again, it's more what was me talking about, oh, I grew up poor and I had to get it out the mud and I had to sleep on my car and blah, blah, blah. The first 2 seasons, that's all you fucking hear about. Okay, are we going to get to work? Why is that whole thing a pity story? I want more storylines and everything like that. So it just got unbearable at a certain point. She has pockets where I like her, and then she has moments where she irritates me. I don't know. She's just not that girl. And that class of interns, it had potential. Stephanie's not pictured on the tier list, but if Stephanie was here, she probably would have been a good B tier. They had some character assassination with her too, but she was the best intern there. And then, that was gone. So that was very unfortunate. I would definitely say that. So I don't know. I thought the whole thing with Alex was good, the whole marriage, but we'll get to that. And next up, I think he was in the bomb episode of the shooting episode. It was like an episode or two. Like, that's why it's there. Like, pack it up. Next up, we got Richard. Richard is a hypocrite. Richard is a hypocrite. That's why I have him here. Because at the beginning, you're talking about, I'm going to retire. You didn't retire. You were trying to talk to Meredith and all these other people about stuff. And you have your own issues. Like, he had this whole thing about alcoholism, which he's trying to recover from. He had a whole situation where you were cheating with your wife, Adele, with Ellis Gray and everything, and you were too much of a coward to leave your wife and everything. So there was that situation, and yeah, I don't know. He's just a coward. He's just a hypocrite. He always want to tell everybody else what they need to be doing, but your hands aren't clean. Your hands aren't clean either, sir. So I don't know. He's had good moments. He's had bad moments. When he's right, he's right. When he's wrong, he's wrong. He's too old. He's too stubborn. He's too set in his ways. And yeah, he annoys me. He annoys me. The whole Catherine relationship, boom, throw it in the trash. I hate it. Burke, glad Burke was off the show because he's homophobic, and yeah, I mean, there were some good storylines or two, but the person is so horrible, the character, glad he was written off. Some people like to give Burke too much. The only good thing he did when he came back was giving Christina the business and having that storyline. Besides that, who really give a fuck? Next up, Denny. It ties into what I already said about Izzy. The whole storyline, like, I never saw Denny on the show and thought good things. Let me put it that way. Next up, she played Ellis for like one episode. I think this is Sarah Paulson, so this is a one-off, but it was a good episode, but it's a one-off. And then next up, this is going to be Levi, I believe. Levi never gave anything. Can you sit here and tell me what were his memorable storylines? What were his iconic moments? He had none of the story. He had none of the story. He was on for 4 or 5 moments and failed to ever make a mark. I don't know how he's on the show for that long, but thank God he finally got fired. Thank God. Same thing with Nico. Yeah, that was a chop. That was a chop. And then with Helm, her storyline is liking Meredith, and that's literally it. That's the whole storyline, and not that much character. Working at the bar, you came back to work at the hospital. Who give a fuck? And then next up, the Luca. I didn't like them putting him with Meredith, to be honest with you. So I would definitely say that was a whole situation and everything. He probably had a good storyline or two, but when he was gone, I'm not really sweating it in retrospect. Next up, Catherine. Catherine's so fucking evil. I'm so sorry. Yeah, wasn't there a whole thing of like Christina was never gonna win the Harper Avery because like a conflict of interest because she was working with the hospital? I believe that had something to do with it. Meredith was trying to do all the Alzheimer's work and everything, and then she was basically just saying there was a loophole where she can take credit for shit she didn't even do. I think she had moments where she was manipulating Richard. Like, she's just a monster. I fucking hate Catherine. I am so sorry. Yeah, it's a chop for me. It's a chop for me. And then Owen's the worst character on the show. I don't give a fuck. I hate Owen. I hate Owen. The whole thing with Christina and her saying, I don't want to have kids, and her being very clear. And he said, okay, she had an abortion and you're trying to shame her for it when she told you that that's what she's going to do. You know, that's her choice. He choked Christina out. He cheated on Christina. The way that he treats Teddy is awful. The way that he treated Amelia for the most part was awful. So, like, the romantic side, it's not giving. It's not giving. He's just so controlling, so in his way, so much toxic masculinity, bigotry, and all that stuff. The work thing, it's the same thing. I fucking hate Owen. If Owen has no haters, I'm dead. The worst character on the show. I don't give a fuck. Okay. C tier. So I had Derek in here. He had moments where I liked him and hated him. Just moments where I kind of felt like he was a little bit too controlling. But there was moments I understood, like the whole Alzheimer's trial, I believe, with Meredith, and she switched the results. And I get why he was mad about that, and moments where she put them at risk necessarily. But the whole tango back and forth the first few seasons was kind of annoying and everything. And I mean, that's also a Meredith thing too. So I don't know. And then like the last season, that was character assassination when he was going to work for the president and everything. And then that woman kissed him and he didn't tell Meredith. I thought that was definitely odd as well. I'm trying to think some other moments. If you can think some other moments where Derek came up short, it was very annoying, definitely let me know that. Oh yeah, when he basically implied Meredith was a whore. Yeah, really sir, that's what we're doing, that's who we are, that's what we represent. So yeah, moments where I liked him, moments where I hated him. So C tier felt appropriate. There's worse characters on the show and everything, but I'm not really a Derek stan by any means. The more times that I watched the show, there were some selfish moments. Next up, I believe this is Link. So I had my moments where I liked Link. I feel like I liked him more when he had the Amelia storyline, and then when they blew that up for no reason at all, I still hated that they did that. I was very frustrated by that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's moments in the relationships where you can kind of be selfish and everything, which I don't really like, especially with the whole thing with Joe, which, like, I feel like I said, why put them together? I don't like it. So I don't know. C tier felt appropriate. And then we had Bailey's husband Ben switch career 800 times. You cunt someone open when you're not supposed to. C tier felt okay. Callie, character assassination, because the whole thing with Arizona at the end and everything, I just didn't like how the trial went. So I didn't love that. So that is how I'm going to put it and everything. But there were some good moments. There were some good moments, I will say that. And then we had McSteamy or whatever. He had some good moments. He had some character growth. But then when it was a whole thing of Lexi and his daughter coming in, I hated that storyline. I'm sorry. And then Riggs. I liked Riggs for what he added for the seasons he was there. And then when he left, it was unfortunate. But C tier, it felt appropriate. April had a lot of great character growth and everything. She dealt a lot, losing the child with Jackson. She had some moments where she was too uptight and I hated her. But she went through a lot. I thought them writing her off the show was unfortunate. They could have added more dimension to her because Owen's ass is still in the show, but that's a combo for a different day. Finishing out my C tier, we have Maggie. So can we be honest? Maggie doesn't have a whole lot of dimension. It's kind of like they brought her to replace Lexi in a sense, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work. Her whole identity is basically being smarter than everybody else, and like, yeah, she has her moments where things fall through, like when her mother died, for example, the whole Jackson storyline that I kind of touched on earlier. She just got divorced from her husband on the show, so she's not perfect and everything, but yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot of dimension. There's not a whole lot I love about her character, to be honest. Like, we can move on. Now we're into my B tier. So first up, I got Amelia. I have moments where I like her, like whenever it was a storyline and she was taking out Herman's tumor, I believe, and then like she was still blind, but she like took out the tumor, so I thought that that was a good moment. And just like moments where she helped other people, she had her addiction that she was dealing with on the show and everything. I completely understand her reaction after Derek died and Meredith waited to tell her and everything. I completely understand it, because what do you mean, like, you're not gonna tell me? I get taking a little bit of time to process, but it took her way too long to tell her, so that was a justified crash out in my opinion. I don't know. I think she did some good things. I think she did some bad things. There's some moments where she definitely irritates me. It's giving a little bit selfish, but I don't know. I don't absolutely hate her. I don't absolutely love her. It depends on whatever arc she's going through at the moment, to be honest with you, everything. So B tier felt okay for me. Addison, you know, she really was taking names when she started the show and everything, because she came in the show whenever it was revealed Derek was still married and they tried to work it out, and she had some really good cases. And if you have not seen Private Practice, please watch the show. That show is so fucking good. Oh my god, I might rewatch it soon. I need to finish watching Dance Moms first probably, but Private Practice was goated. But yeah, I don't know, she kind of ate, so I feel like B tier was okay. Arizona, and this kind of goes into the tier of character assassination, because, you know, Arizona should be A tier, should be S tier, but the way that they had her cheat on Callie for no reason, that's nothing like her character, so I didn't get that. And the whole Cassie situation wasn't my favorite, and I'm sure she has some other storylines I didn't like. There was a whole plane crash where she lost a leg, so that was an entire situation as well. So I don't know, for the most part I like Arizona, and I thought she had good storylines, and Peas and Alex, and she did a lot of good. She had some moments I didn't care about, and yeah, the fact that she got run off the show too, like, these writers going to hell, because again, why is Owen still here? Why is Owen still here? Next up we have Bailey. Yeah, I don't know, like, I just liked her at the beginning of the show when she was a resident. She was taking names and everything. She had a lot of good storylines, like that storyline with her husband where they were going through it because she was working all the time. They got divorced, she meets Ben and everything. Like, I don't know, I feel like her character used to have more depth than it does now. Ever since she became chief, it's like they went out of their way to make us hate Bailey. Just so many moments where she was selfish and couldn't see the bigger picture and was firing people, and maybe a time or two it was justified, sure, but I don't know, more often than not, I'm just disliking her, and now she stepped down as chief, and I think they're trying to bring more humanity to her, but they ruined her character for like the last few seasons or so. So it's hard for me to see past that. I get why you would have her higher, but you know, just what they've done the past few seasons, I feel like has been egregious. And then next up we have Alex. Character assassination. Again, what they did season 16, I believe, that's whenever he left. And that whole situation where he was going to have kids with Izzy. Like, all the character growth that he has had since then, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That pissed me off so bad. It really did. It really did. So I feel like that was my main issue with it. But he had a lot of character growth and everything, kind of being more so the macho jock guy. But, you know, Meredith and all of them, they got him to be more in touch with his emotions, more emotionally intelligent. He became peace and everything. Like, he had some good storylines. Okay, he had some good storylines. That one storyline with that woman Ava, I believe, I hated that storyline. I hated the storyline with Izzy. Like, Izzy never had any good storylines. I'm telling you, name one good Izzy storyline. It doesn't exist. Exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like he had some good storylines. He had some good moments. He had some good episodes and stuff like that. I really like, I think it's season 9, whenever they have to go past all their exams and everything to become attending. Like, that, like, moment, it was goated. I don't give a fuck. So, yeah, I don't know. The way they ruined his character at the end, that's why I B tier. But Alex was a good character for the majority of the show. So, I feel okay with this. Now I went to A tier. So I decided to put Meredith in here. I feel like this is controversial. I don't know. As I was doing it more, somehow she ended up in A tier. I really don't know how to explain this to you. It might be too high. I'm can be talked down into bringing her to B or C tier. She had good moments. She had good moments. Like in the beginning of the show and everything, like yeah, she was Elsa's daughter, but she also had like her own talents and everything, and she was always willing to work hard and she was always cutting edge. So I like that. And she did stuff where it didn't necessarily benefit her. I was kind of talking earlier about the whole Alzheimer's thing, how she switched it. So there was that. And I feel like she's had moments where she was like selfish and she got fired and everything. More often than not, she's doing stuff for a good cause. So I feel like that's kind of why she ended up here subconsciously. She had a lot of good storylines and everything. So I will definitely say that that's probably also how she ends up here. The past what 7 years she's been checked out. I think we can all agree about that. We can all agree about that. Ellen Pompeo don't give a fuck anymore. But seasons 1 through maybe 13 or maybe 12, I don't know. I like the first stretch of the show, it was good. This first stretch of the show was good. So yeah, but I can be convinced to bring her down, but for some reason that's what she ended up when I was making this. And then Lexi was goated. Lexi was goated. Okay, like it was giving. It brought her in as Meredith's sister. She, you know, had trouble at first, but she gained it in her own right. She was doing surgery, she was doing good. The Mark storyline was unfortunate. She died in the plane crash. It is what it is. I hated the George storyline, for the record, but Lexi is kind of goated. And then in S tier, we have Christina. Because who else? Of course, Christina was going to be in S tier. The best character on the show. I don't give a fuck. Christina always stood by her morals. I was talking earlier about the whole thing with Owen and, you know, her signing to get that abortion and everything. Like her saying, like, kids aren't going to be for me. I want to focus on my career. And she was, like, very hard on that. Like, she was always trying to, you know, get on the next case and everything and all this stuff. I think sometimes she seemed, like, emotionally void and everything. But it was just because she was going a lot. And she was just trying to be perfect. And she had her moments where she broke down and everything. Like whenever she worked at the bar for a few episodes and like she was just like really struggling through it, and she had PTSD, so she had her moments. But I don't know, I feel like a lot of us kind of want to be like Christina, you know, sticking to our principles, very smart, very dedicated. She had good storylines and everything, so I don't know. And I like how she went out on a high. She went out on a high, okay? After season 10 and everything, she was like, I'm hanging it up, I'm done. And I respect it. I don't know. So yeah, Christina's gonna be at the top. But let me know what you guys think of Grey's Anatomy if you have watched it, how you rank the characters. In terms of my thoughts on the new interns and everything, I don't know. I have my moments where I like them. I have my moments where I like them. I don't know how I'd rank them in this respective tier list and everything. Adams is the one that annoys me the most. And then who's the black girl? Fuck, what's her name? I don't remember. So like there was that, and then Isuda is okay in pockets and stuff like that, and then there's the Asian guy. I don't remember these people's names. Asian guy had moments, and then there's a white girl that was okay. So I don't know, they had good moments. Like I said, if Stephanie would have been in this tier list, she probably would have been like B tier. She had that one storyline with that guy she was dating, and then she broke up with him and everything because she wanted to work on surgery, and that was fucked up. But then I think she had a storyline where she saved a kid from a burning building or whatever the fuck. So I don't know, she had good storylines. I wish she didn't quit the show, because her character was basically going to be Christina part 2. Okay, that was going to be Christina part 2. I don't give a fuck. Like, she had so much potential. Shane, I believe he was an intern. I think it was season 9. Shane was so fucking annoying, and the whole relationship with Christina, I could throw up. And then I think Brooks, I think she was the one that got killed in that season. Brooks had so much potential, in the fact that she got killed, it was sad for me. But yeah, any other characters you want my thoughts on, let me know down below. But I love Grey's Anatomy. I still do watch it. I think the newer seasons are actually getting good, sometimes to talk about it. But I thought a tier list would be fun and something I should do. But you know, weigh in down below in the comments, let me know what you think.